Hey, this is Gary Payton. Y'all listen to 3-Point Conversion Radio. It's the bomb.
Hello.
We will start with Rick.
JB, with Cody's injury, what do you intend to do with your starters and rotation in response?
Sure. We'll start Biz tonight, and from there, we'll figure it out. We got bodies down the line, so it could be a 9-man rotation tonight. We could play a little smaller tonight. They play small anyway, but we'll start Biz tonight at the 5.
You made a good point a couple of games ago that you wanted to give those 10 players a real shot at seeing how that worked out. And you said you wanted to give them a sample before you made any decisions. I know injuries by definition might change that. Is it conceivable that you might go outside that 10 tonight in response to the situation?
Go beyond the 10 tonight. It's always an option. I don't anticipate going there, but we could. We got Caleb there that's available. We got bigs as well. We just got to see what the big situation looks like tonight. I know they're down a big as well. So could be a lot of small tonight, which could bring Caleb into the mix. But I think, there's enough there for us to play small with the 9.
Thank you.
Yep.
Will?
Kind of going off those lines, JB, I know that based on what they've gone through, it's difficult to gauge, but between Nick and Vernon, is there one of those two guys that's either closer or are either of them close, or are they both kind of just in that project stage?
Yeah, they're both in that project stage. We haven't seen them much at this level. I liked them both in the G League, in the bubble. I thought both did some things well, and obviously it's different at this level, but, I think both could be thrown in a game here. You just never know. So I don't anticipate that, but those guys are ready, and we're going to keep them ready. And it's been a challenge developing these guys at the rate that we prefer. But both guys are capable of helping us at some level, so we'll just see. If we need them, we'll use them.
Jacob?
Coach, just kind of on the topic of small ball, you obviously went small on Thursday. It got you back into the game against the Lakers in that second half. Specifically with that game, what was it that going small kind of unlocked for you guys?
Well, we putting Miles and PJ out there, we had a little more versatility there, more switchability. I thought, Miles has played well in this arena in the past. He's a hungry individual, and I thought, he was ready for that moment, and he delivered. I thought he played well. We had more aggression, and part of it was the matchup. Part of it was the matchup that I liked out there. But I thought the guys came out, they competed there in the second half. Watching it on film, I think they gave great effort. They were in tune, and you got to give Miles and PJ a lot of credit. I thought both guys impacted that second half a lot.
Rod?
Hey, JB, after the Lakers game, you kind of mentioned that you didn't see enough, passion from the guys. Just wondering, how do you make sure that doesn't happen as much, especially when you start playing these tougher teams you're going to face the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think we just want to see it more for, 48 minutes, especially against teams like this. You can't have a poor quarter or a quarter where you don't bring your full effort, full energy, full focus. And I think that's a learning process for us, that every single night, especially against the top tier teams, you got to play near perfect, for 48 minutes. And that really starts with your effort. That's one thing that we can't control every single night. It's just our effort, our competitive spirit. And we found that in the second half, and we had it for a good chunk of the first quarter. Second quarter, we lost our way a little bit. And it wasn't not all about effort. As we came down that second, I think we were right there in the second quarter as well. But give our guys a ton of credit. I think in the fourth quarter, we continued to battle, got it to 1 point, one possession game. And Just couldn't find a way to close it out. But I like the fight, the spirit I saw in the second half.
Law.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. We have Nick Batum here with the Clippers, and of course, he's motivated to play against his own team. But I wanted to know from you, what was the challenge on the court for Nick last season as he went from a guy who started to a guy who's coming off the bench to a guy who really wasn't playing at all after January?
Yeah, I give Nick a lot of credit. He was professional the entire time, all last season. I was honest and open with him from the start. And, I thought he was great with our young guys, and he really embraced the role and, provided them leadership and professionalism. And I appreciate that from Nick. That was a big part of our season last year, is having the right bets around our young group. But he handled himself with professionalism and maturity, and he continues to help our young guys along the way. So I'm happy for him. I think he's found a great home here, and he provides a role here that they were looking for and they needed, and I think he's done a great job this year. So really happy for him. And other than tonight, I wish him all the best.
James.
Hey, I don't know if the lineup stuff is going to mean that you use zone more often, especially on the second unit. But if you do go with that look, like, what sort of makes that zone work when it's working? What do you look for when you have that going?
Well, really just to be disruptive, take them out of their rhythm, their sets. We've found some moments throughout this year where it's been helpful, for us defensively. For us, it's been a challenge all year just to live in one defense, one coverage defensively, we're not the biggest team, on the perimeter or at the rim. So we got to get creative. So what I'm looking for is just disruption, really looking to take, our opponents out of their comfort zone, their sets. We do want to take away the paint, with our zone. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It does open up the 3-point line at times. But, you got to sacrifice at times, to plug some holes. So it's been good for us in general. It's been good for us this season.
Cameron.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. I'd like to ask you about LaMelo Ball. Throughout the season, what has surprised you about this kid? And then additionally, who would you compare him to of NBA players from the past, if any?
Well, I guess what surprised me is just his maturity, his poise at the age of 19 to come in to the NBA and not be fazed by the moment, by the schedule, by the pace of play. It's like he's been doing this for a number of years. And then I think secondly, it's just his ability to impact winning. That at such a young age, he's had such an impact on us winning a number of games this year. And that's not always the case for a 19-year-old. And you can look up and down the draft board, it just doesn't happen very often. This is a 19-year-old rookie starting on an NBA team, and he's got his hands and imprint all over helping us win games. So, he's been a thrill to coach. Your second question was, who would I compare him to? The closest thing that I've seen that I've been around and coached is Manu Ginobli. I've used that comp a little bit before, just, the ability to make plays off instinct, off competitive spirit, at times just, making something out of nothing. And secondly, probably just trying to hit home run after home run. They both have that ability. And so that's probably the closest thing that I would say. They're different. They're not exactly the same position, but they both play with that same sort of spirit and mentality throughout an NBA game.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, James, good to see you. Knowing Kawhi from your history with him, I was wondering, how do you see Nick's game complementing Kawhi's and how they complement each other? And then I guess on film also, what have you seen has probably been the biggest impact that you can see Batum having on this team?
Well, I think Nick's playmaking ability, his ability to share the ball and move the ball, as you watch his team a tremendous amount. And, I've seen them a number of games this year, and, he just moves the ball with ease. He's very unselfish. And I think that's one area he's really helped this group, is really moving the ball quickly side to side, not letting the ball stick. He's a guy, he's a ball mover. And I think it is contagious for their team. I think it's added another dimension to their passing. So I think that's been good for Kawhi as well. I think he's given him, Kawhi, he's complimented him on the defensive end. He's taken some pressure off Kawhi because he can guard with his length. I think a lot of the matchups, Kawhi's able to maybe play the back line, and they put, Nick on the ball a little bit more and make him the primary defender at times, just using his length and his size, which allows Kawhi to do some different things on the backside of their defense. So, those are three very good defenders in Nick, Paul George, and Kawhi. I think he's really added depth to their ability to switch and keep the ball in front. And, it's going to be a challenge for us tonight, getting the ball downhill against those guys. But I think it's a good pairing. I think Nick fits this roster, this lineup. He doesn't need to have the ball in his hands, constantly, but he'll often make the right play when the ball does find him.
Richard?
Richard Walker, Carolina Sports Hub. Coach Borrego, you talked the other night about Gordon doing so many offensive things by distributing the ball, but not getting his shot much. Have you looked at ways to get him more involved with taking shots and being more aggressive, or is that kind of a game-by-game situation?
Yeah, we want him to be more aggressive, and that falls on me. He's trying to do the right thing, make the right play. Obviously, these are some very good teams we're playing against. They're trying to take him out, and a lot of their schemes are built to limit his touches and his scoring ability. But look, I got to try to move him around and free him up to get some cleaner looks, and especially early, I think in the game it's going to be important to get him involved. But these guys are a challenge. They got three guys they could throw at Gordon that have length and high level defenders. So it's going to be a challenge for us tonight. But I like it. I love it because I think this is forcing us to grow and adapt and figure out ways to improve offensively. So I love the challenge of that, and we've talked about it the last 24 hours, just how to move him around and maybe disguise some things to get him going.
Last one, we'll go to Tomer.
Hey, Coach, Tomer Zarlin, Clutch Points over in LA. I'm just curious, like you were with Kawhi during two of his best years in 16 and 17 with the Spurs, and I'm curious, Pop has talked about how, when he came in, he was more of a defender and he slowly started scoring more. And now we were seeing him facilitate at a very high level. I'm curious, like, could you see that kind of rise coming, considering, he came in as a defender initially, not really a scorer, not really a playmaker?
Yeah, that's probably been the biggest area of growth for him over the last few years is just his playmaking ability and his ability to see the floor. I'm not sure he had a lot of that early on. I don't think any of us know, but he was a smart individual. He had great instinct, especially on the defensive end. He just didn't have a whole lot of reps at handling the ball and making plays, But I think Kawhi would probably agree that being in that system and being around that type of offense and ball movement and decision making really accelerated that piece of his game, And then as he started growing into more touches, more opportunities, he just, it came pretty easy to him as he went, But I think he had that foundation early from San Antonio. He had guys around him that taught him, and he was able to observe and watch from afar and internally and add that to his game. But early on, there were not a whole lot of plays run for Kawhi. Kawhi just got his stuff off, the flow of the offense or a driving kick or transition, offensive rebound. But slowly but surely, he got more and more comfortable with the ball in his hands. And since then, he's grown every single year as far as a decision maker and playmaker.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.